Hey there YouTube, Wrestling Optimus here, back with another action figure review. It's Wednesday, the best night of the wrestling week, which means it's time for AEW Dynamite on TNT. Based on their tweets, it would seem the Inner Circle had quite the time in Vegas, and I'm excited to see the fallout. Plus, Darby and Cody are in the main event against Team Taz, so it should be a good show. As always, if you're new here, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more pro wrestling and action figure content. Now, we're headed into my custom dailies place, so for a recap and review, let's take it over to the action figures. Dynamite opens with the much-anticipated debut of Top Flight. According to their video package, actual brothers Darius and Dante Martin are the talk of the indie scene, despite only being 21 and 19 respectively. They say one minute they're randomly tweeting at their idols, the Young Bucks, the next they're face-to-face with the tag team champs on national TV. But to me, even more impressive here than the played-out chase your dreams narrative is the way AEW willingly gives their platform to fresh, new talent so they can go out and prove themselves. There's no sucking up to the boss or backstage politicking. It's actual meritocracy, and it's nice to see. Immediately, I noticed their speed, as early on, they easily outpaced the Young Bucks with flips and kicks, but once Matt and Nick settled down, their experience shone through, and they took control with all the double team maneuvers. Darius does one of my favorite moves, the Spanish Fly, while Dante takes out the Bucks with a huge tope con hilo. Both teams have great chemistry, and flow smoothly through each sequence. In the end though, despite Darius' best efforts, the Young Bucks hit Dante with a BTE trigger and pick up the win. Don't be fooled by the loss, that debut was fantastic. Those guys put on one hell of a match against the champs, and I can't wait to see more from them. Afterwards, they're attacked by the Hybrid 2, who have been complaining on Dark lately about their lack of screen time. This likely sets up a feud between them on Dynamite. It's our first of two segments from the Inner Circle's trip to Las Vegas. I absolutely love how consistent they are with their characters both on TV and social media. Every time there's a group shot, Jericho, MJF, and for some reason Santana are grinning like idiots. Sammy and Ortiz look dejected, while Wardlow and Hager just stare at each other in the background. At the casino, MJF cheats at blackjack by switching cards behind Sammy's back. Then, they head to a strip club where, just like with their steaks at the Dinner Debonair, MJF and Jericho get caught up in a game of one-upsmanship about their drinks. They go from slippery nipple through rum, vodka, tequila, and moonshine, all the way to 100 proof grain alcohol. I think he meant to say 190 proof, which would be 95% alcohol by volume. The bartender references an incident caused by Everclear, but they drink it anyway and immediately regret their decision. Santana and Ortiz know just the guy to kick things up a notch. Oh my gosh, it's Conan, their old manager when they were LAX and Impact. He helps them hotbox the limo until they literally see a dragon. As in Las Vegas staple Piff the Magic Dragon. He's one of my favorite America's Got Talent stars of all time. What a great cameo. Back at the bar, Sammy drunkenly confesses that he hates MJF as Wardlow and Hager beat up strangers in a competition. It looks like we might be getting some kind of documentary about the rise of AEW. There's a trailer by the mysterious Director X that you should definitely check out. Jon Moxley cuts his usual backstage promo, sharing some advice he got from his dad. He said, "Son, no matter what, remember that we're the good guys." Prophetically, Mox says he's been getting jumped and beaten up ever since he won the title, but he remains guided by that advice. Tonight, he's going to sign that contract, look Kenny Omega right in the eye, and prove that he is his father's son. He is Jon Goddamn Moxley. Oh, and he just happens to throw out there that his wife, Renee Young, is pregnant. No big deal. Miro is on commentary as Orange Cassidy takes on Kip Sabian. That gives Excalibur a chance to plug all the recently announced AEW video games, but seriously, you have to check out their launch video, it was hysterical. Kip refuses to allow Orange to put his hands in his pockets, instead forcing him into a more traditional match. Meanwhile, Miro claims to have no problem with Cassidy, only best friends for breaking his video game. Orange hits a swinging DDT for a 2 count, then there's a cool exchange before Sabian goes for a draping DDT, but it's reversed into the mousetrap, giving freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy the victory. Going against what he just said, Miro comes sprinting down from commentary and clotheslines Cassidy's head off. Best friends run out to make the save, but they're too late. Tony Schiavone is out to host the contract signing for Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega's match at the special Winter is Coming episode of Dynamite on December 2nd. Tonight's factoids from Kenny's obnoxious introduction include: like Moxley, he's undefeated in 2020 singles competition and has been ranked number 1 in the PWI 500. Unlike Moxley, he is a Wrestling Observer Hall of Famer and once trained at a Rush Fitness in North Carolina. However, when Moxley's music plays, he's nowhere to be found. Cameras cut to the back where he's laid out with the bloody face. Doc Samson calls for a stretcher. Back in the ring, Kenny acts very dismissive, claiming that Moxley is just avoiding him with a broken nose. He casually signs the contract and walks out. It's time for part 2 of the Inner Circle's Vegas adventure. We find them getting drunk on a rooftop while inducting Elvis into the group. MJF confesses that he's always been a lone wolf, but he's finally found his pack. They howl at the moon together. Then, in a Hangover parody, we see the morning after. Jericho wakes up next to Elvis with no idea what happened. MJF wakes up in a bathtub with his face covered in Sharpie. And Sammy apparently fell asleep in a fountain after marrying 3 women, including one who I'm pretty sure is Trent's mom. Ortiz clearly took something because he's working out like crazy and thinks Sammy is a Mormon now. They find Santana playing with some chickens and then investigate crying sounds. Playing the part of the baby is fucking Hornswoggle in a diaper. I'm dead. Eddie Kingston joins commentary as the Blade takes on the bastard Pac. The latter is so dominant that he has time to yell at the Butcher on the outside. Pac hits a massive superplex, but when he heads for the top rope, the Bunny distracts the ref and the Butcher knocks him off. He fights back and hits a shooting star press, then locks in the Brutalizer for the submission victory. Afterwards, he tries to cut a promo on Kingston, but the Butcher attacks him from behind. Eddie grabs the mic instead and taunts Pac about his 8 months in isolation. Suddenly, Rey Fenix sprints to the ring and attacks the family, trying to save his former leader, but the numbers game is too much. Then, Pentagon, the final member, comes out wielding a steel chair. He hesitates as everyone freezes in anticipation. Finally, he takes a swing at Eddie while screaming, "No more," signifying Death Triangle is back. They stand tall as the Triángulo de la Muerte music plays. Cameras cut backstage again to find Jade Cargill standing over Brandy and screaming, while the Vicious Vixens hold back some officials. She wedges Brandy's arm in a chair and stomps on it. Big Swole and Red Velvet chase off the heels, but the damage is done. Yet again, the only women's action of the night is a rematch for the NWA Women's World title between the reigning champ, Serena Deeb, and former champ, Thunder Rosa. If you've ever seen these two, you know how good they are, so of course it was a great match. It's just a shame that AEW still has to rely on another promotion's wrestlers and title belt because their own women's division is so weak. And of course, yet again, it went through a non-picture-in-picture commercial break. When they come back from that, Rebel comes from out of nowhere and distracts the ref while Britt Baker lays out Thunder Rosa. Deeb takes advantage and hits a powerbomb, but it only gets a 2 count. They continue with an exchange of near falls before Serena hits a modified pedigree to retain. After the match, Thunder Rosa finds Britt Baker in the crowd and beats her up. John Silver and Anna Jay cut a promo where they admit that Anna's first gimmick was dumb, but the Dark Order found her, and now she's the Queen Slayer, who won her last 4 matches and is ranked in the top 5. So Mr. Brody Lee got her a women's championship match next week against Hikaru Shida. Anna says she's not a rookie anymore, she's number 99. In the main event, Taz brings out Team FTW and joins commentary as they take on the team of Cody Rhodes and Darby Allin. Darby's entrance is complete with a visually cool but confusing black and white vignette showing him silently skateboarding through a church with his new TNT Championship. Not sure what the point of that was, but I liked it. The match starts with Darby and Ricky flying around before Cody and Brian Cage have a classic power battle, which Cage wins when he bicep curls the American Nightmare. Ricky goes for the Rochambeau, but Darby counters into an attempted stunner. Starks reverses though and goes for the Crossroads. Cody stops him and hits a Crossroads of his own. Then Cage clotheslines Darby's head off and takes out Cody with a super kick. He drags Allin to the top rope and nails an avalanche drill claw to pick up the win, but keeps beating up Darby after the bell. Big Will Hobbs makes the save with the steel chair and holds up the FTW Championship at Team Taz. Then he turns around and clocks Cody in the face with it. Wow, I guess he finally made his decision. The rest of Team Taz comes running in to embrace him as Taz screams in Cody's face, "No one cared about Team Taz, no one cared about the FTW champion, well you care now, don't you?" Overall, another great episode. I especially like that ending because I totally didn't see Will Hobbs joining Team Taz, although he has been consistently late to make the save lately. They look so strong now, and I'm not exactly sure where Cody and Darby can turn for help, but that's a good thing. As you'd expect, all the Vegas stuff was hysterical, using the Inner Circle's plethora of running jokes to brilliantly continue this story while building everyone's characters. Once again, the actual wrestling was great too. We had the fantastic debut of Top Flight, a fun Orange Cassidy match, and more build for the epic showdown between Moxley and Omega. Plus, it looks like we're getting even more of my favorite wrestling trope, faction warfare. Welcome back, Death Triangle. Now, AEW just needs to come through on those rumored triples belts. Alright, that'll do it for AEW Dynamite. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. I'll be back on Saturday with my Survivor Series predictions, and then, if I'm able to get my stage set up, I'll do an action figure review of the show early next week. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to do all that normal YouTube stuff. Smash the like button, share with any wrestling or action figure fans you may know, subscribe to the channel, and spread the word. You can also talk to me over on Twitter, at PSUOptimus, or see all my best figure photography over on Instagram at WrestlingOptimus. If you haven't seen the video where I build my custom dailies place, you can check that out right here. But until next time, I've been Wrestling Optimus, and I'll catch you later.